After Saturday's game, getting ready to hit the floor today. Hopefully have two good practices in preparation for Tennessee, and we need to have two good practice after the way that we played, in Knoxville.
How did Isaiah's knee respond to playing 38 minutes? Is it any swelling or anything?
Yeah, no, I mean, from all indications from Mark, everything's good. He's feeling good.
Eric, I don't know if you remember the red-white game. I think Adrian took a couple jumpers or maybe one, and you took him out, and you said afterwards, he was doing good stuff, but that just wasn't in his wheelhouse. And I totally agreed. Didn't have any idea he was going to shoot like this. Do you remember that? And just kind of to go from that point to this point, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just, he's put in a lot of time, working on his craft. And, the one thing that, philosophically that we want is we want five guys that are a threat to make a three, just because it opens up the floor, you know what I mean? And he's been the one guy that especially with each game's continued to get better and better from three.
And Conzo Martin said the other day he considered Adrian a perimeter player. Do you consider him a perimeter player?
I think he can. He's versatile. At his size, he can guard multiple people. His perimeter shots improved. I kind of look at him as a hybrid forward, I guess, is the best way that I would describe him.
What have you seen at Tennessee since, they played you and just kind of how this team, that's the only team that blew them out. You see any kind of revenge factor or any motivating factor?
No, I've just kind of talked over and over about every game takes on a new theme, a new identity. There's adjustments, it's like a playoff. I said it the other couple weeks ago when we were playing our first opponent. I think it was Mississippi State. For a second time, you hope to be able to watch the film and make adjustments, and you hope to be able to watch their last few games and see how teams are playing people. But their point guard really hurt us bad. He did whatever he wanted. He shot threes. He assisted he got his teammates great looks. We had no answer whatsoever for Vescovi. So somehow we've got to figure out an answer if we want to try to beat him.
He goes with Isaiah back. Did you feel like Jimmy was maybe able to get to his spots a little bit better Saturday? I guess particularly the mid-range pull-up.
Yeah, I think everybody, when you add another perimeter threat, it just opens up things for everybody on the team. And certainly if you're an interior player, when you have 2 3-point threats like those two guys are, and then Desi's been shooting the ball really well, like the last 10 games or whatever it's been with, as far as you look at his body of work, it opens it up for Jimmy and Adrio inside or whoever we have inside.
Eric, what do you think about Jordan Bowden, their leading scorer? What do you remember about him from the first game? Just what do you think about his game overall?
He annihilated us too. We had no one to guard him either. Bowden, obviously he's a high-volume 3-point shooter, but he's really good in transition. He's really good mid-range. He did a good job. He had 3 curl bends that I call them, coming off down screens where he caught that thing right in the mid-range. He can make mid-range shots. He can attack the rim because of his length and his physicality for his position. And he's also, shot the ball at a higher percentage in years past even than he did this year. And he's going to he takes a fair share of threes, so that becomes at least, the threat of him taking them is a concern as well.
I guess that Josiah Jordan James wasn't there the last game. Just kind of what does he add to them? I assume he's back playing.
Yeah, he's starting, and he's a great player, but I'm still going back and watching the film of of whoever was on the floor, of their 5 guys that had their way. And, so I mean, he's a really good player, but I can't even be concerned with him right now because we got to figure out how to stop the guys that were actually in uniform last time. So, but he's a good defender and lengthy, and how are we going to stop Fulkerson? What are we going to do with Pons on the offensive glass? Are we going to be able to keep the point guard in front of us? All those things are a concern because the score would indicate that they caused us a lot of problems.
How much, aside from just what Isaiah does, just having another body there,
yeah,
does that make a difference?
I think it makes a huge difference for us from a rotation standpoint. Quite frankly, when Isaiah wasn't in uniform, they kind of self-subbed. Now we can kind of sub based on performances. And before, if a guy wasn't playing well, he still got minutes because we had nowhere else to turn. And so by getting Isaiah back and a player that is going to play 30 to 38 minutes or whatever, it certainly allows us to substitute based on productivity and such that on that given night. So I think it changes things dramatically for us. And then you add in the fact that he's a really good player too, because even this next game, we'll probably still be talking about who to start all the way up till shoot around, because we don't have a set starting lineup right now. We're still trying to figure out who is that 5th starter for us. I think everybody knows who our 4 starters are, and then we're trying to figure out who that 5th guy is.
Yeah, we saw the video. I guess it was you after the game in the locker room, lying down flat and then kind of rising, I guess, from the dead or something. What was
You're
that?
not a wrestling fan?
Yeah, I saw.
You got to Google Undertaker.
Yeah. What was the inspiration for that, and kind of what was your thought process behind that?
Well, we kind of were, laying on our backs after 5 straight, and the point, I did it before the game, and we showed him video of the Undertaker, and how he gets, comes from his back and kind of rises. Just trying to have fun and loosen the atmosphere, but also have a little bit of a message as well. I could stand up there and say, hey, we've lost 5 in a row and let's win one, or after the game say good job. So I just had some fun with them and illustrated what the Undertaker does prior to his matches.
And you talked about...
And our AD likes wrestling, too.
You talked about people knowing who you're going to start. Desi's probably his best 2 games have been off the bench against TCU, and then the other days obviously had other good games. But so do you keep bringing Desi?
It's a good question, Bob. It really is, because it's something that we're talking about. Even before this press conference, we talked about it because he came off and gave us great scoring punch, and but yet he's usually in there in crunch time, and that's why I said we're probably going to change our starting lineup. I don't know who that 5th guy is, because we've tried a bunch of different guys, and we just got to keep tinkering and see if something sticks.
Adrio, he says he's still got room to grow, even though he's obviously a senior. How do you think he's played of late? He's scored.
Well, I think that's a great attitude. Like when a player, has 4 games left, and then you got tournament and all that stuff, and a player is still talking about improving, like that's awesome. Like that's what you want as a coach. That's what you want as a culture, that a guy's thinking like that. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Just how do you think he's played of late?
I think he's done a great job. Again, especially without Isaiah, he was a guy that provided us some 3-point made shots. There was other guys taking them, but he was actually making them with, and he shot a high percentage. And I think people now are recognizing that they have to guard him out there, which again opens up dribble drives. And that's why we've had some games of high volume free throws attempt, because we know Isaiah, we know Mason. Now you can throw Adria in there and Desi, so we're getting closer and closer to having 5 guys on the floor, that can be a 3-point threat.